Niall Horan, the charismatic Irish singer whose voice has captivated audiences around the globe, has opened up in a deeply personal way about the hidden struggles he faced during the whirlwind years of One Direction. At just 32 years old, Horan has already lived multiple lifetimes in the public eye, but it's his candid admission about retreating into hotel rooms for extended periods that truly humanizes the pop sensation. He confessed that there were times when he simply didn't leave a hotel once, a stark revelation that paints a picture of isolation amid the chaos of superstardom. This wasn't a fleeting moment of exhaustion but a prolonged coping mechanism, spanning what he estimates as 5 years of his life immersed in the band's relentless schedule. The weight of fame, he explained, pressed so heavily that venturing outside felt impossible, turning luxurious accommodations into unintended fortresses. To understand the depth of this confession, one must step back into the formation of One Direction itself. Horan, along with bandmates Louis Tomlinson, Zayn Malik, Harry Styles, and the tragically late Liam Payne, were thrust together on the stage of the X Factor in 2010. What began as individual auditions transformed into a collective phenomenon, a boy band engineered for the modern era of instant global connectivity. From that pivotal moment, their trajectory was meteoric. Before their eventual hiatus in 2016, One Direction amassed an astonishing array of accolades, nearly 200 awards in total. These included 7 Brit Awards recognizing their dominance in the British music scene, 4 MTV Music Awards, celebrating their video artistry and performance prowess, 6 Billboard Music Awards, affirming their commercial juggernaut status, 7 American Music Awards which highlighted their transatlantic appeal, and a whopping 28 Kids' Choice Awards, underscoring the fervent loyalty of younger fans who saw them as more than musicians, but as relatable icons. Yet, beneath this glittering facade of success lay a profound personal toll, one that Horan now articulates with raw honesty. The Irish native from Mullingar, a town known for its unpretentious charm, found himself grappling with the suffocating aspects of worldwide adoration. "I tried my best to try and keep things private outside of work because my whole life was very private," he shared, emphasizing how fame invaded every corner of his existence. The crowds that gathered outside hotels weren't mere enthusiasts. They were tidal waves of screaming fans, media helicopters hovering overhead, and an unyielding spotlight that made anonymity a distant memory. Horan's strategy was simple yet heartbreaking: withdrawal. By staying indoors, he carved out slivers of normalcy, shielding himself from the frenzy that defined their every public appearance. "There were periods where I literally didn't leave, I'd say for 5 years, didn't leave a hotel once," he reiterated, the repetition underscoring the duration and emotional drain of this self-imposed seclusion. This struggle wasn't abstract, it manifested in tangible, everyday barriers. Horan vividly recalled an incident in Peru, where the band had innocently plotted a casual outing to a local shopping center. The plan, born of a desire for a brief taste of ordinary life, perhaps browsing stores, grabbing a coffee, or simply people watching, quickly unraveled. Police intervention was swift and sobering. 10,000 fans had amassed outside, turning a simple errand into a potential safety hazard. The group, wise to the risks, opted to remain ensconced in their hotel, the outing aborted before it could begin. Such episodes weren't anomalies but the norm, reinforcing Horan's aversion to the outside world. "I just couldn't get used to not being able to go outside and stuff. I struggled with that side of it," he admitted, his words laced with a lingering vulnerability that resonates with anyone who's felt overwhelmed by change. In sharing these experiences, Horan doesn't portray himself as a victim but as a young man navigating uncharted waters. His Irish roots, steeped in the close-knit community of Mullingar, served as an anchor. He credits this upbringing with keeping him grounded, preventing the ego inflation that can accompany rapid ascent. "I credit my Irish upbringing in Mullingar for stopping me from getting too big for my boots," he reflected, invoking the colloquial phrase that evokes humility and self-awareness. Growing up in a place where fame was as foreign as the band's eventual stadium tours, Horan entered the industry with a perspective that valued authenticity over arrogance. Even as they performed to arenas filled with tens of thousands, the band existed in a protective bubble, insulated from the full scope of their impact. "Until we left the band, we never really knew how big it was. Even though we were standing there on stage looking out, we were just in this little bubble, and it was only afterwards looking back in," he explained. This hindsight revelation highlights a common thread among former boy band members: the delayed realization of their cultural footprint. The contrast between their explosive rise and a typical musician's journey is stark. Most artists toil in obscurity, building careers through grassroots efforts. Small venues, independent releases, word-of-mouth buzz. over years or even decades. For One Direction, however, the launchpad was national television, broadcast to 10 million viewers on the X Factor. From there, it was straight to arenas and stadiums, bypassing the incremental steps that allow for gradual adaptation. This accelerated timeline amplified the pressures, turning what should have been exhilarating into exhausting. Horan touched on the internal dynamics of the group, acknowledging moments of tension but framing them as fraternal rather than fractious. "Yeah, there was a little bit of it. None of us were maniacs, but we definitely looked out for each other," he said when asked if they ever clashed. "That's just the way it is. We had a good crew around us, we felt like we were in our bubble." This mutual support was the glue that held them together, a testament to the genuine bonds forged under fire. Transitioning to his solo career has brought both liberation and loneliness. Horan misses the camaraderie of the studio and stage, where ideas bounce between five creative minds rather than echoing in solitude. Now as a solo artist, Neil admitted he misses having his bandmates in the recording studio or on stage with him, as it's a lot of pressure on one person, capturing the shift from collective energy to individual accountability. Yet this pressure fuels his evolution. Earlier this year, in March, Horan confirmed he was deep into crafting his fourth album, a project teased with snippets of new music that hint at maturation in sound and theme. In a conversation with Golf Pass, he expressed unbridled excitement about this creative phase. "I am literally this week just about to sit down, and I've been accumulating some ideas, but I'm going to sit down and start writing my next album," he enthused, the words bubbling with anticipation. He sealed the revelation with a playful exclusivity. "That's an exclusive, I'm working on a new album, guys." Horan's journey from hotel hermit to confident soloist is a narrative of resilience. It speaks to the universal human need for balance amid extremes.